right, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapito Sibiri. Now, first story, President Akufo-Addo has defended his anti-corruption record, insisting Auditor General Daniel Dumolovo was not forced out of office. Mr. Dumolovo was first asked to proceed on accumulated leave, and he was then asked to retire shortly after his return from his leave. In an interview on CNN, President Akufo-Addo said the Auditor General was not targeted. The president also says he's satisfied with his government's fight against corruption so far.
The word pride is not the word I would use. I mean, am I satisfied that we've been effective? And I would say that yes, a lot has been done, and it's reflected in Ghana's growing position on rankings on corruption in the world. We've gone up several notches since I came into office because we're dealing with these matters at a basic level. For instance, the institutions that are there, the anti-corruption institutions of our country, when I came into office, were very poorly resourced. You can talk all you like about corruption and inveigle and make all the wonderful state, but if the instruments at your disposal for dealing with it are weak and blunt, you will get no results.
President Addo, some people are upset that the Auditor General was forced out of a job, and one of his important mandates was rooting out corruption.
There are laws in our country, and the Auditor General, like me, we should be some of the first to recognize the laws in our country. There's a time for retiring, which is prescribed by statute. They're not my making. If you're 60 years old, you're supposed no longer to be able to work in the public service. The Auditor General came to 60 years old and then had to retire. So the expression, and I say so with great respect to you, that of forcing out, well, he was not forced out of government. He left office by the operation of law.
Away from that, Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Kotoka is vowing not to relent on his efforts until all buildings on waterways are demolished. As the rainy season nears, the minister is teaming up with the various district assemblies to raise all such facilities to prevent the reoccurrence of flood in the capital. On Monday, the minister led a team from the Tema West Municipal Assembly to demolish a 3-bedroom house in Lashibi. Kotoka Santi reports.
Shaibu Kabore is assemblyman for the Lashibi electoral area. He watches on as his 3-bedroom house, which he says cost him hundreds of thousands of cedis, is raised down by the Tema West Municipal Assembly. To prevent the recurrence of flooding in the region, Regional Minister Henry Kotoka is teaming up with district assemblies across the region to demolish houses and facilities constructed in waterways. A washing bay and this 3-bedroom house is now gone, but owner and assemblyman of the electoral area, Shaibu Kabore, says he accepts that he did wrong by putting up the facility in a waterway.
So it's one of the errors we do, and I accept that it is a wrong thing we have done, and then I will use this as a leader. I'm using this as an example to others, to serve as a deterrent to others. Let us not take the law into our own hands, especially the local leaders, the opinion leaders. When you are in your locality, don't think you are above the law. Leadership by example, let's live by it, and then make sure we do the right thing. So I try to let it go, and then as you are witnessing, it is gone. So that tomorrow the town will not be flooded, and then we will lose life, and later assembly member who is the local leader of the area will be accused for blocking the water, and then disaster happens. So I think it is better we let some of these things go.
But the Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Kotoka is warning that more of such demolitions will happen across the capital.
I'm saying that some people said, oh, to me, yeah. Well, the train has taken off. So long as you remain a passenger, when we get to your place, the train will stop and it will pick you. It will pick you. So, well, it's your choice. If you choose to build on a waterway, when we get there, the train will stop. and you can be rest assured that it will not leave without picking the passenger. So this is just to serve as a deterrent to all. That's when we get there, we will indeed get there, and we'll do what we have to do. But in the same vein, let me use the opportunity to commend the Assembly member for demonstrating high leadership qualities.
Though some district assemblies in the Upper West region have put in place stringent measures, coupled with government's ban on the cutting and transporting of rosewood, the practice is still ongoing in some parts of the region. Felling of rosewood and its transportation was at its zenith in 2012, forcing the government to place a ban on its trade. Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports the rare species, which takes about 100 years to grow, are being cut in a split second to and secretly transported out of the region for export.
According to the Environmental Investigation Agency report, about 6 million rosewood trees have been cut down in Ghana for illegal export to China since 2012. Despite government's ban and further tightening other loopholes on the illegal trade and felling of the endangered species, the practice still goes on. The personalities fingered in the act are corrupt government officials and local authorities. Member of Parliament for the West constituency, Superintendent retired Peter Tubu, whose constituency he claimed the practice is on the rise, is deeply worried to the marrow.
I got into the forest, I saw beautiful trees that were cut down, and I just began to see a desert that is moving faster downward than ever before. And I'm asking, if this is what we are going to leave for future generations, then we should be doing harm to the future than our grandfathers have done for us. The level of detection will tell you the level of spread. But until you see it, you may think that it's at a particular level, but it may be more than that or less than that. My interest is the fact that this is an illegality and it must stop.
The West District Assembly in 2018 arrested these rosewoods that were illegal cut in some communities in the district and dumped at the Wichita police station. West District Chief Executive Edward Labiru Sabo agreed hook, line and sinker with Superintendent Peter Tubu on the illegal practice. However, he said it is difficult to fight it because the people are not ready to devote information to enable the security arrest the perpetrators.
So I deployed the police and the military people to the scene. When they got there, they were not able to see anybody. They found out from the communities. They were not willing to show them the area that the people are actually doing the operations. They search around that area. They patrolled there about 2-3 days. They haven't heard anything. So the operation they are doing there, it is that they have stopped. They have run away. Even as a now, to identify the spot, those people that have been able to know the place, when you ask them to lead you there, they don't always want to go. They will only be sending information across, but when you contact the person that where is actually that area, it becomes a challenge.
Since the practice was done on the quiet and on the blind side of most of the people, the team therefore went on the prowl, driving from one district to the other, looking for communities where this illegal felling of the rosewood is taking place. Assemblyman for Kajipere North, Janity Morris, gave me an insight about how they were arrested.
When they come, they are foreigners. The communities they get to, they don't even know the communities. What they do is they engage indigents, give them subcontracts. They cut these rosewood, then they go to them and buy, carry them away. So what we've done for now is last year we started it last year. Then this year, what we are currently doing is we will be able to talk to some of the people that are supporting these foreigners to do the cutting down of the trees.
This rare species takes about 100 years for it to fully grow.
But for persons who have unscrupulous minds or evil intentions, it takes them a split of a second for them to cut them into pieces like this. The rosewood are then carted out of the Upper West region, taken to the Far East, preferable to China, where they are used to make imperial furniture. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Kajiperi.
This report precedes the Joy Forum scheduled for Wednesday, May 5, 2021 here in Accra, and it will be live on all our stations. Now, the Paramount Chief of Wungu, Nazuri Saka Sulemana, has authorized a manhunt for a group of armed residents who attacked and killed an elephant. The chief has been angered by the refusal of the residents to heed his warning not to harm the animal after its presence in the area was brought to his attention. Nazuri Suleiman has ordered the residents to stay away from the carcass as attempts are being made to report the incident to the Health and Forestry Services in Wale Wale. Correspondent Yasatanko reports.
The animal was killed Friday afternoon near a small stream outside the villages of Palio and Misiu, about 15 minutes ride from the Wungu town. It was still not clear how the elephant was murdered, as none of the locals at the scene was willing to speak to us. However, it was gathered that the animal was cornered by not less than 20 armed men who fired from different directions as it attempted to flee a small burnt forest in the area. At the scene, the animal was slaughtered and its head, including the ivory, taken away by the killers. The rest of the body was severely riddled with bullets. The assemblyman for Wungu, Alassane Nasiru, who spoke on behalf of the Paramount Chief, said the chief is furious over the matter because the residents chose to disregard his warning against the killing of the animal.
It was yesterday in the morning around 8:30 thereabout. We was in the palace when we hear that there is an elephant crossing Yama Road. So they called Nanzoa to inform the Paramount Chief of Wungu. So he told them they shouldn't touch it, they should leave it alone. So by a few minutes time, we hear that it is in Mishu. So they recall again and he said nobody should touch it, they should leave it alone. So wherever it is, it will go back to where it is. You don't allow anybody to do anything to it. So later on, around 3 thereabouts, we hear that they have a group of people came and shot and buried. So, and the Paramount Chief of Wungu traditional area give authority that they shouldn't touch it, nobody should touch it. Once he said they shouldn't kill it and they refused and done that, they should leave it alone. I think that is why it's lying down since yesterday till this time.
The assemblyman also said the chief has ordered a search for those behind the killing.
At first of all, he was looking for those who have killed it. He didn't get. So because of that, they should leave it alone. We didn't even see a person who said they are the group of people who killed it. Because according to them, yesterday when you come here, the time they were here, the guns that was shooting is about 20 or more. So they didn't even actually know who killed it, and they don't want to even tell actually who did that.
He said attempts were being made by the Paramount Chief to contact Health and the Forestry Services in Wale Wale to report the matter.
Because according to him, once it is like this, we cannot leave it alone. We have to give the forest people, notice to also come and observe it. But fortunately, when this Saturday, when we got to the office, nobody is there.
The scene of the incident was literally a tourist attraction as dozens of the locals from far and near thronged the place to have a look at the killed mama. While many came with the intention to get a share of the meat, others came just to watch and take pictures on their mobile phones. The assemblyman, however, had this message for the crowd gathered at the scene. All those who are not supposed to be here are to leave immediately. You have been asked already not to come here. After this announcement, anyone who refuses to leave should have themselves to blame for any ramifications that might come upon them. Some of the residents spoke to JoyNews.
We all hear that elephants have been shot and dead at Palu. Here we call it Palu. So all of us were here to witness and to see it. Some of us never even seen elephant before. So in fact, when we hear that, it was very amazing to everybody. So we're all here to see how elephants look like.
And we have never seen elephant before, so we are here to see it. Eliasu Tanko reporting.
All right, from that, the Bono East Regional Minister, Kwesi Adjudication, is asking the fire service in the region to implement measures aimed at ending the increasing number of fire incidents at the Techiman Central Market. The minister made this call when he visited the market to ascertain the extent of damage from a recent fire incident that led to the destruction of several shops. Correspondent Anna Sabit has the rest of the story.
Several shops were burned down with goods worth thousands of Ghana cedis on Monday, April 13th, after a fire engulfed a section of the Techiman Central Market in the Bono East region. It took 6 fire tenders and more than 80 firefighters from 5 different fire stations more than 4 hours to bring the fire under control. 3 weeks after the said incident, life is back at this part of the market with renovation works on some of the stores already in place. The Regional Fire Command, after its initial investigations, told JoyNews that the building needs to be demolished entirely to avoid future disasters. Here is the Regional Fire Commander, ACFO George Enimfrimpong.
The lattice foam building, you know, when you look at it, there are a lot of cracks because of the intensity of the fire. So we will say nobody should go closer to the building. Nobody should climb the building. The building, I'm advising them to bring everything down and then build it again. They shouldn't renovate it. Everything is now in a state of collapse.
Though the Municipal Assembly is yet to conclude its investigations on the safety state of these structures, renovation works are currently ongoing at a faster rate. Bono East Regional Minister Mr. Kwesi Adjudication, who was out of the region during the fire, visited the scene together with the Municipal Chief Executive Mr. John Kofi Dunina and members of the District Police Command.
We had a building that got fire. I wasn't in town at the time, so the Municipal Chief Executive visited. So being in town today, I decided to visit there to get a first-hand information, to observe first-hand and see what really is happening at the market and why the frequent fire outbreaks in the market.
About a year ago, a similar fire incident destroyed several properties in the market. A committee was established then, but its recommendations are yet to be implemented. The regional minister says measures need to be taken to end the number of fire incidents recorded annually.
It happened last year. This year it has happened. We don't want that to be a business as usual. Okay. Fortunately, the first fire that we had in Techiman Market, that was last year, there was a committee that was set up. The committee came up with recommendations. And these recommendations has been done somewhere. You know, it is not fair. Okay. So as a regional minister, I've had a conversation with the Regional Coordinating Council. Whatever we need to do to implement the recommendation, we should implement it.
Mr. Adjudication called on the owners of the structures to exercise restraint until investigations are completed on the status of the structures.
The Municipal Assembly is investigating and have placed a restraining order that the building should not be developed until their investigation is completed. So I will urge the owner. I know he has lost a lot, but we are also asking him that he should restrain himself a little bit. When all those things are done, the right thing will be done.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
And that's how we end the AM News with me, Mapisa Sibidi. Enjoy the rest of the AM show with Mama V and Benjamin.
Well, thank you for making time to join us for the news review belt of the show. This is where we dig into the papers and bring you all you need to know. Malavi, good morning.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Ben. You good?
I am very well. I have this morning the Ghanaian Times Daily Dispatch, Daily Guide, the Meridian, and the National Enquirer.
And I will be looking through the Daily Graphic, the Finder newspaper, the Business and Financial Times, Economy Times, and the Daily Statesman. These are the newspapers that I have this morning. I guess straight away we will be digging. Would you want to start with the Times?
Yes, I shall. And this morning it says, man killed, 5 injured in clash between Fulani herdsmen and residents. We're back to this situation with some herdsmen, exchanging with residents. Quite a situation there. I remember, is it Professor Osman, the leader of the Fulani group in Ghana? I mean, years ago I was interacting with him over some of these matters, and he felt aggrieved the way sometimes the picture is painted. But we'll take details of that story and find out what exactly is happening this time round. Council of State joins fight against Galamsey, and then new taxes take effect today. So all of that to digest, even as fuel prices also take a hike. Yesterday I saw a post by Dr. Steve Manteyao, who was asking how the Vice President feels about the current prices of fuel products, whether it's diesel or petrol. Monetizing mineral royalties. Review existing agreements for maximum benefits. That's according to Dr. Carl Wadame Genti. He shares his thoughts on some of those. But it appears crime is on the ascendancy in many ways, and it's high time we curbed it, because some people are beginning to feel unsafe in certain enclaves. But today we talk about Bawe residents, where 2 have been arrested for robbing and terrorizing those residents. That's on page 3. We'll bring you details later. Now, in a related incident, 4 have been grabbed for allegedly kidnapping a 19-year-old man. Some international news now. You know that the Zulu Queen passed recently. Well, it's been said that she was not poisoned by the royal family, as has been speculated by some. And then Chad's military names new government, but opposition still unimpressed. All of those stories in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Now, the GMA, the Ghana Medical Association, has been speaking up in respect of what happened, the Christ Embassy gathering at the trade fair, and it says it was in blatant disregard for COVID-19 protocols. And that is in that the Deputy General Secretary of the GMA, Dr. Titus Bayu, has been speaking. Children hawking nose masks are prone to COVID-19 themselves. That's another story of interest there. When you turn to the back page, maybe before I do the back page, Ghana receives $150 million grant from World Bank. And this is to implement the harmonizing and improving statistics in West Africa project. You can grab a copy of the paper to get the details. On the back page, sad one there, boy 17 killed in slum fire in Kumasi. And then Anaji Snit residents give ECMA 2-month ultimatum to repair roads. That's it for the Ghanaian Times newspaper. All
right, let's do the Daily Graphic. And on the front page, 13 busted in fake money printing. Collapsed fund managers. SEC assures customers of full payment. Graphic GCB Bank forged stronger ties. On the monetizing mineral royalties, bold decisions now, according to speakers of yesterday's event. Governments must support free, independent media. That's a call by the UN boss. Getting into the pages proper, on page 13, stories, gender-related stories. That's this point that the Somanya District Police Commander has been making, and it's really, really a good call. He took the opportunity, an event that he attended, to give some advice to teachers, where he explained that there was no consent for defilement, and any teacher who defiled a girl or a girl child will be sentenced between 7 to 25 years imprisonment in hard labor, as the law stipulated, adding this will end your career as a teacher because you will become an ex-convict. So that's Superintendent Anyani, who's been doing a lot of explaining and telling teachers about the consequences of rape, defilement, abduction. And he says they must be avoided by teachers because they had corporate image in the society. A really, really good call. Some fantastic education there.
Very, very important point to make there, because in this case, someone might think, oh, why is he singling out? Even if you're an ex-convict, I mean, you should be reintegrated into society, rehabilitated and all of that. But you see, why he makes that point is that you are in charge of children, which means that once you become an ex-convict for that specific crime, you can't be allowed to have access to children again. And that's the breakdown of what he means. So you will not be allowed to get close to children to do this again.
Okay, so this issue about the Securities and Exchange Commission also assuring all affected clients of the collapsed 47 fund management companies that they will receive their money in full is on page 16 of the Daily Graphic newspaper. The commission has therefore urged them not to panic as it is going through all the processes to ensure that they receive their money. He gives account of what has been done so far. We've been talking about Ghana's oldest surgeon and statesman, Dr. Emmanuel Evans Amfum. He'll be buried this month, May 13, according to the family. Dr. Evans Amfum played several key roles in the medical field and also in academia, rising to become the Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology from 1967 to 1973. Still going through some of the headlines in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Seized Rosewood, and this is on page 24 and 41 of the paper. Seized Rosewood from illegal loggers will no longer be auctioned to private individuals, but will be put to public use, according to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Abdullahi Jenapo. Well, he said that this is so because when they seize it and they auction, the people who got them in the first place, the reason for the auction, would get people to front and repurchase the products. So this is how they intend to not let them have access to it. Details of that story as well in the paper today. Mr. Anis Hafa is writing on Galamsey, and he titles it "Shameful Blatant Destruction of Ghana's Forests, Water Bodies. Kwame Nkrumah Turns in Grave." That's on page 28. Very good opinion piece that you might want to read if you have the time. And then I found this very interesting in the graphic today. So somebody's given advice, and he says that if you've been wondering why you've applied for so many jobs, but you've never been invited for an interview, he's got an experience because he sat on a recruitment team not too long ago, and he's noticed a few things, particularly with the CVs. So he's written in the Daily Graphic newspaper. That's Rahim Newton. He's an entrepreneur. For instance, he says most of the CVs that he's seen lacked a summary statement, and it was full of buzzwords and cliches such as hardworking, team player, professional, analytical skills, and problem-solving skills. So what exactly does he want you to change? You might want to check out that in the Daily Graphic newspaper. I think that'll be it. There are plenty of other headlines that I guess you'll be interested in if you want to explore the paper further. On the back page, this is Runner Motors CEO constructs 2-kilometer road in Accra. That's good. He's a 38-year-old philanthropist and Chief Executive Officer of Runner Motors, Mr. Atta Frimpong Adel is his name. He's constructed and asphalted a 2-kilometer road at Lashibi in the Greater Accra region from his personal coffers. A sad one person has been confirmed dead in the fire that destroyed 40 shacks at the Asafo Bibi slum near the VIP bus terminal in Kumasi last Sunday. Nana Aljima did an extensive report for us here on the AM show and, of course, on JoyNews. That's it for the Daily Graphic.
The Daily Guide newspaper now. NDC agents, illiterates, party unattractive. That's supposed to have been said by former President Mahama. Monetize our mineral royalties. That's according to experts. But of course, there are grave concerns that have been cited in there. Open your defense, AG to Opuni. and Agongo. A national security nabbed fake currency syndicate at Kotoka. You know, I'm sure you followed that story, Mama V. Having currency worth about $5 million. People are doing things. But what was it about that? I don't want to mention his name, but that owner of a travel and tours agency
who stormed
who said that
national security,
the national security, claiming to be what was his he said that he was a presidential staffer.
Yes,
claimed he was a presidential staffer, and all that was said, and it's pretty interesting.
I don't know why they tolerated him so much, because I know in many other instances they will not allow you.
But it's interesting how he, comes defending this Syrian, all guns blazing. We'll see how that turns out. Ministry halts government land encroachment at East Legon. Then there's, when you go to the international spread, German police shut down major darknet child sex abuse platform. It appears this sex abuse thing is going on everywhere. I don't know whether it's the Ghanaian Times or the Daily...
The Graphic?
Graphic. I think there was a similar story somewhere, in a crackdown in Germany as well. But authorities in Germany managed to take down one of the world's biggest child sex abuse platforms following a large-scale investigation which led to several arrests in mid-April. That's according to a police statement. And the platform, Boys Town, was active since at least June 2019 and had a membership of over 400,000. It was only accessible via the so-called darknet. So this is not your regular internet. There are ways of getting into it, but at least it's being shut down. U.S. accuses China of acting more aggressively. In other stories, police pick up Christ Embassy leaders, and you know exactly why. When you go to the middle spread of the paper, some more entertainment news, international entertainment news. And there's children used to ask whether I was a boy or girl. We all use if in these instances, but Daily Guide, you should actually be using whether, and you will find out why. But The Rock is saying that when he was young, people would ask whether he was a boy or a girl. And I'm sure you can see from the picture why.
He looked like a girl.
Yeah, he looked a bit.
Lots of hair there. Yeah.
Chidima Ekile quits secular music for gospel, and Nilanti takes on Achimota School.
She has?
Yes, she has.
Ooh.
And Nilanti takes on Achimota School over dreadlock brouhaha. On the back page, it says Amida Brima making waves in the NBA. That's on the back of the interaction of George Addo Jr. With him. I like adding his middle name, Amida Abiola Brima. And minister campaigns for national teams. That's the sports minister. That's it. Maybe I should just add that the UK government has slammed Man U fans for, I wouldn't call it rioting, but storming the stadium in recent times.
You wouldn't call it rioting?
The Liverpool match could not come off.
There's
I
quite some
wouldn't go out
distraction
and out
as well.
and call it rioting.
Quite some distraction. It was terrible. Let's do the final newspaper. Here's what's on the front page. EC saved Ghana 523.4 million Ghana cedis in 2020 elections. 13-member gang arrested with over $5 million in fake currency at airport. Securities and Exchange Commission pays 1.7 billion Ghana cedis of investors locked up cash. Ghana must tap into $72 billion mineral royalties trading. Experts propose review of all existing gold mining agreements. Land guards face 5 to 15 years in prison, according to Justice Ajay. And if you go to page 2, where he does some explanation, he's a justice of the Court of Appeal, said Dennis Dominic Ajay is his name. And he's been explaining that the sentence meted out to those found engaging in land guards was punitive and deterrent enough. So the punishment is in two folds, according to him. If you are a land guard and you are seen in the act and you're tried and convicted, the minimum sentence is 5 and maximum is 15. But if you engage them to work on your behalf, then the minimum sentence is 10 and maximum is 15 years. Because if they aren't engaged by people, they won't go committing crimes. So there's the need to curb those using land guards too. And that's all a quotes that I've just read to you. Why is this? Well, there's a new law that has taken effect, and it did in December, exactly December 23, 2020, land guards have taken over land administration in the country, which was illegal, and that's what the law seeks to deal with. And then if you come to page 7, still in the Finder, Samson's take on the 110,000 teenagers pregnant. Sex under 16 is a crime, and he's pretty angry, sad, you know, he's reminding all of us something that perhaps we know, but we pretend sometimes that we don't know. He talks about the media also sometimes not reporting on these incidents. And there's a good breakdown of the incident in the various regions as well. We're talking about this subject here on our show today. We all have to be sad and angry at the same time, because as Samson says it in his take, a lot of these girls may never go back to school. How can a child raise a child? So details of that in the final newspaper
Some of
today.
these girls are as young as 10.
Yeah.
10. The Daily Dispatch newspaper now. Defense Minister warns Galamsey operators, you have yourselves to blame if you mine in water bodies. Dominic Nitowo speaking to those issues. Then there's between 2016 and 2020 elections, we saved over $90 million in 2020. That's according to the Electoral Commission, which continues to pat itself on the back. GES directs Wesley girls to permit students to fast. And 13 teenage pregnancies recorded every hour in Ghana in 2020. Every hour, there were 13 teenage pregnancies recorded. And as we have this conversation today, I would highlight this issue because I can't grasp it. Every hour, 13 of our girls got,
you know, the issue with the
got
lockdown,
pregnant.
the consequences of COVID-19, other countries were able to come out with research and talk about the effects.
Kenya came out with its own reports.
Yeah, we had to wait a long period, and we didn't even associate this. We were talking about domestic violence and abuse, and here we are with this matter as well.
Well, when you turn to page 2, it says January 8 chaos. Military entered parliament to prevent further misconduct by MPs. Jose Wusu has been saying that. And I think, for me, I feel we should just let this matter go, not because we should just sweep it under the carpet, but I feel each time the rhetoric we keep hearing with some members of parliament trying to justify what was done. You know, the other day I was having a discussion with a key figure in this country, and he asked me, Ben, if this had happened, let's say the Supreme Court were sitting and the military had invaded the Supreme Court, what would that have meant? So I don't know whether there's any justification ever for it. The first time it happened in our history, but this is what Jose Wusu is saying. I think that's a wrap for the Daily Dispatch.
All right, quickly, I'll do the Business and Financial Times. Here's what's on the front page. It's time to heavily invest in SMEs to drive economic growth, according to F&B CEO. Ghana remains top investment destination, but challenges remain. Withdraw nuisance and sensitive margins on petroleum products. A call by IES. They say the burden of Ghanaians will be worsened if government fails to withdraw its decision to increase margins on some petroleum products. That's the Institute for Energy Security, and that's the warning. It's too late, isn't it? Well, some driver associations, there's a concerned driver association. I think they issued a statement yesterday, and they say that if the increase is not withdrawn, they're going to put 40% on, and they don't mind at all. They're
complaining bitterly.
The fares as well, and they feel so disappointed about the development. Back on the front page of the Business and Financial Times, banks ditch businesses to satisfy government borrowing appetite, according to Dr. Chahine. He warns crowding out will slow recovery. Plenty of business stories in the Business and Financial Times.
Well, I'll box my last two papers together. The Meridian National Security busts fake currency. Syndicate on the back page. Ghana disqualified from 4x100 meter World Relays final. Initially, Brazil taking top spot, South Africa, and Ghana in third. We've qualified for the Olympics and the World Championships, though. But
and this was a mistake.
Disqualification means it was I think between is it Asiati and one of our other runners. Unfortunately there, because they lost out on a $10,000 purse, but at least they still qualify with the third fastest time. Serie A, Inter Milan win first title in 11 years.
Yep.
And something to celebrate from Antonio Conte's side. The National Enquirer, health danger, Ghana to receive 350,000 expiring COVID vaccines from UNICEF. Look how it's couched. Health danger, Ghana to receive 350,000 expiring COVID vaccines from UNICEF. Of course, we know our authorities are on that beat as well to ensure the safety of the vaccines. Mahama Jabs Ekufuado stop intimidating the media, CSOs. And finally, Ajabeng will be influenced by government as special prosecutor. J. Ekufuor Foundation backs Martin Amidu. So that's it there. Now, this one is a bit interesting.
Yeah, but this 350,000 expiring COVID vaccines from UNICEF, that's not a fair.
That's why I alluded to it, that our authorities are ensuring
they're not expired products. So why would you say expiring products? At least they are not expired. We're expected to take delivery, by the way, today, and then we're also told that some Sputnik vaccines will also arrive in the country by May 15.
There are concerns with Sputnik as well, especially with regard to what happened in Brazil. But again, this is where the FDA, the health authorities, all of them are going to prove their mettle, basically. Because if we have any incidents, unfortunately, that will also go to further erode the confidence of some people who are already not confident in the system. And we really can't afford that, not in our case.
And that's where I get worried when officials get agitated or when you ask them
they get defensive when you are trying to probe.
And it's as if you have a position. Yeah. But listen, whatever we ask, even if you think they are stupid questions, they are foolish questions, people are asking them anyway. And then you have a responsibility.
No, but what do we come and do here? We reflect what the people want to know, what they want to hear.
Exactly. And so I think that even if you think that there are so many myths, there are so many things that people say. What didn't people say about AstraZeneca? People have still refused to take the vaccines. So even if you think it's a very silly question and a journalist shouldn't ask, is an opportunity as an official, a regulator, to do education. And I didn't like the posturing of that FDA gentleman who spoke last week at all. The fact that another country is raising issues, people will certainly also ask questions here in Ghana. It's a global
But the context is very different. And you look at our response, even how people saw the virus, first of all, before the realization that, hey, this is real came in. You really can't utter some of those things or take some of these things for granted. And I totally agree with you. We come here and ensure that the person out there who is thinking X or Y has answers to his or her questions.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
All right. So you have one more paper because I want to skip the rest of the papers.
I'm actually done with these. In fact, we could actually... I
want to talk about Bill and Melinda Gates. It's one of the very topical issues.
I guess everybody is divorcing nowadays. And the billionaires, those at the top, it appears they are all into it.
Yeah,
From Jeff Bezos,
so after 27 years, they announced yesterday in a joint statement their intention to divorce. But you remember that they also run one of the biggest philanthropies in the world, and people have said that maybe this divorce would have implications on their estate and on their philanthropic work. So is it going to affect the many good things that
I don't know
Bill
about the philanthropic work, but on their estate, definitely.
And this is also raising, people are quickly also looking back at Amazon CEO
Jeff
and
Bezos.
his wife, because ex-wife, they got divorced in 2019. And people have said that. So you know that she also has a foundation. And usually when they are together, they make big contributions, to a lot of organizations. But when they go their separate ways, for instance, this lady is also concentrating now on her own charity.
That's true. But they started this entire giving pledge to ensure that billionaires, at the end of your time here on earth, you commit most of your money to philanthropic works. I think Warren Buffett and others joined it. So I'm hoping that does not, fizzle out, or I don't know, but I'm hoping that drive continues, because even this vaccination drives and all of that, health matters in there. I'm hoping.
So I was doing a little reflection yesterday, and I captured this. Never put your eyes on people and their experiences, even good ones. Never put your eyes on people and their experiences, even good ones.
Okay, so is that a bit of inspiration for the morning, or?
Well, that was my inspiration last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the back of this?
Well, I wasn't even sure. But one thing is for sure, marriage, like you have no business getting into somebody's marital issues, you know, because you're not there with them. And whatever the decision they take, they think they've taken the best decisions. It's not up to you to judge or ask questions.
I agree with the bit about judging, and I also think that sometimes we look too hard at other people and forget they are human beings. They're human just as we are. I'm an advocate for no divorce, but just because someone is getting it doesn't mean you are better than that person. You've never been in those shoes, or if you are, maybe you don't have that kind of experience. So we can only pray and wish them the best in that respect.
On that note, we will direct you to myjoyonline.com. We have an incredible lady, one of our own, our friend and colleague to celebrate right now. It's a big happy birthday to Erama Aqua, our text editor on the show. Is from all of us. That's pretty Erama right there. It's her birthday today, and we want to say we love you, Erama. You're incredible. You're fantastic. If you know her, give her a call. Today's the day to celebrate her as she celebrates her birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to Mr. Kwekwe Buahene, CEO of Catfarm Limited. It's from management and staff of the Multimedia Group to you. Happy birthday, sir, and do have the best of the day. I was going to give you, throw the color challenge to you and find out whether you could.
Challenge?
Oh no, I'm starting it. I love doing colors. So when I saw Irama's outfit, I was going to ask you, what's the color of the headgear? What's the color of...
Was it curry or something like that?
Okay, curry, yes. How about the headgear?
Can you bring it back, Patrick? I don't know, man.
I guess this is what most of us would say, a wine. But I think that's maroon right there.
Ooh. I like this color challenge. I'm not going to be challenging you. I am terrible at it.
I love doing colors. Anyway, that's how we sew it up. Are we going to do My Joy Online?
No.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay.
So we sew it up here. There's a lot coming your way. We have sports, and don't you forget there is that application we're going to be talking about in the course of the show, helping us stay safe on our roads, and teenage pregnancy as well. All of that coming up. But right now, sports. Do stay.
And the Euro Championship is almost here with us. Multimedia Group is the home of that tournament. Just a few days away, and every single country that will participate in the Euro Championship, you will have the opportunity of seeing the best players who ply their trade in Europe represent their countries. Hello, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Welcome to AM Sports. On AM Show, Great Olympics is beginning to lose their grip on the league title. In England, West Ham is inching ever closer to the top four of the Premier League table. And as usual, we have some inside stories from Kotoka and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. We'll be sharing these with you later in the show. Thanks for your company. Now, let's start from Great Olympics. With 12 matches to end the 2020-21 Ghana Premier League season, Great Olympics appear to be losing control of the league title. The Wonder Club occupied the summit of the league table at the end of the first round, with their supporters believing that this year could be their year. They have since dropped to third, paving way for Midiama and Kotoka to occupy the first and second spots. With this trajectory, captain of the team, Gladson Awako, reckons winning this year's Ghana Premier League title will be a big task. There's more in the following report. The Wonder Club have lost their place at the summit of the league table to Midiama SC and Asante Kotoka, and currently occupy the third position on the league log. Skipper of the team, Gladson Awako, have called on their supporters to be cautious of their optimism that this is the season Olympics will be champions of the Ghana Premier League.
I've heard several like football, loving fans, they do. I hear them say this a lot. Most of your colleagues as well, and our fans. Yes, they love it. They want to win it. We want to win it too. So, but at the moment, I don't think we're gonna put pressure on us by saying we want to do this, we want to do that, because the points in between is very small. It's not that big. So you see how the league is going. You win today, you are at the top. You lose, you are coming down. So we can't come out now and say that we want to win the league. So we'll take it game after game. When we get there and we see we have the chance to, we'll do that.
The Wonder Club had a great start to life in the first round of the Premier League season. In the second round, their performance, however, have been zigzag. Awako believes winning the league this season is going to be extremely tough for him and his teammates.
It's not going to be easy because there are injuries, there are suspension and all that. So we need to make sure we have like equal, like when maybe player A is out, we should have a replacement for that player. But when he comes in, he's going to do exact work that the other guy is doing, and we need to be disciplined as well, and make sure we do the simplest thing, the easiest thing that we've been doing. We should keep it up. We shouldn't be swallowing a debt. With that, I don't think it's going to help us.
Olympics is 2 points behind league leaders Midiama FC, and they will be facing West African Football Academy on March 23 of the Premier League. Let's come back home and talk about sports infrastructure. And in its bid to contract state-of-the-art artificial pitch in every constituency in the country, Wembley Sports Construction is set to complete 4 new projects in the Greater Accra region by the close of this year. Here is a report put together by George Sports' Asari Bidiaku.
Ghana abounds in football talent, but developing footballers at the grassroots level has become a big challenge. It is almost impossible to develop raw football talent if football pitches are not up to standard. There are about 12,000 grassless pitches in the country, and Wembley Sports Construction Company is eager to change the narrative. The AstroTurf experts have constructed over 50 facilities across the country. Work is currently ongoing at Alajo, Tema New Town, Tema Mexico Park and Adjudication. The Alajo facility is nearing completion. Ibrahim Nitaboy Tete, Asafache of Alajo, tells Joy Sports the community will form a committee to maintain the facility when completed.
The one problem is how to manage the park also is a problem. So we have to form a committee. We have to form a committee to take very good care of the park, because if we don't have a very good people to take care of the park, if anything happens to the park, we can't do it, or we can't. See, the maintenance is the problem. So I think we'll find a solution with the committee to make sure the park, will maintain the park.
The Tema New Town project is 85% complete. Former MP for Tema East, Titus Glover, who spearheaded the project, revealed why the facility has basketball and tennis courts.
Yes, soccer in Tema East, and for that matter, Tema Maya here, is a heartbeat. But we cannot rely solely on football. That is why I took Koma when they came to my office to show me the design as to how he wanted to go. We wanted to have these 2 disciplines attached to it, i.e. the basketball court and the lawn tennis court, so that we can also start tapping talent in that area as well. So that was the reasons that went into it, to make sure that we have these 2 disciplines attached to the soccer.
The Tema Mexico Park project is progressing steadily. The ground is being prepared for the AstroTurf to be laid in the next couple of weeks. But same cannot be said of the Adjudication project, which is almost ready for use. The Alajo project is funded by the Coastal Development Authority. The Tema New Town projects and Mexico projects are being funded by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, respectively, while the Adjudication project is funded by Ghana Gas. Chief Executive Officer of Wembley Sports, Robert Coleman, has appealed to other corporate institutions to come on board.
It is high time that corporate bodies come together and then support this particular concept that we are running, the one constituency, one AstroTurf. I am extremely excited and humbled that something that we started some 6 years ago is resonating with MPs, is resonating with corporate bodies and then other companies. All that we want to say is that it is a good project, it has come to stay, and therefore corporate bodies should come together so that we'll be able to replicate what we have done here in other communities.
Former captain of the Black Stars, Stephen Appiah, is a brand ambassador for Wembley Sports.
I'm very, very happy. I quite remember when Wembley constructed Kotoka Park. We thought it was a joke, but today we are here seeing more AstroTurfs being constructed. So as a former footballer or as a former player and being the ambassador for Wembley, I'm really happy to see what is happening.
There's a correlation between the quality of a country's sports facilities and the quality of athletes it produces. In few years to come, Ghana will be grateful to Wembley Sports for the one constituency, one AstroTurf agenda.
And the construction of infrastructure is very instrumental in the development of sports in the country. The Jubilee House will be hosting the telecom sector by 8:30 a.m. The Ministry of Youth and Sports initiative to raise $25 million, of which government has already committed $10 million, is on course. And last week we had mentioned to you that the first meeting realized 9 million Ghana cedis. The first meeting happened last week, Monday. The second meeting happened on Friday with the banking sector. We were made to understand that the banking sector could not make any pledges because they will need permission from their boss before they are able to make any pledge to government. And later today, the telecom sector will take their turn to meet the president, and it is still the cost of raising $25 million. Outstanding is $15 million. Kumasi Asante Kotoka is currently preparing a statement to release in relation to their decision to dismiss Maxwell Konadu on December 17, 2020. And the statement intends to say that Maxwell Konadu will be paid off. It's 80,500 Ghana cedis. There are concerns about that statement, and it is currently being revised per our sources. Per what we are able to see, it says 3 months final payment, of which the leadership of Maxwell Konadu are currently against. Thanks very much. We appreciate the time you've made out to join us here. There's more sports on my joyonline.com/sports. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Well, thank you for staying with us on the AM show. And it's a crucial matter we're about to discuss at this point in time. It has to do with curbing teenage pregnancy in our country. The latest results or reports showing us that some 110,000, almost 110,000 teenage pregnancies were recorded last year. Question is, how do we get past this? How do we protect our female children, especially as they are not supposed to be getting pregnant at this point in time? Well, joining us for the conversation, Otiko Afisa Jaba is a former gender minister and executive director, Henry Jaba Foundation. We also have Diana Adiko, a former technical director with the Gender Ministry, as well as Alhaj Awal Ahmed Karyama. He's the executive director for Rise Ghana. All of them join us on this all-important conversation. Let me say a very good morning to the guests from Madam Otiko Jaba, Diana Adiko, and Alhaj Ahmed. Diana, a very good morning to you, if you can hear me.
A very good morning to you, sir.
Great, great. Good to hear from you, Diana, and Awal as well. Awal, can you speak again so I ensure that...
Yes, so very good morning to you as well. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Great, great. So I'll start with you, Diana. It appears over the years we've had to struggle with high levels of teenage pregnancy. But looking at the latest report, you would see that while it is a decline from the year before, that is 2019, it's about an 11.7% decline, it still makes for very worrying reading. Now, as someone who has been with the gender ministry, how much of a problem would you say this is, looking at the numbers we have when it comes to teenage pregnancy in Ghana?
Well, it's you've said it all. It's a huge problem. It's worrying, and it calls for attention. If our children from age 10 up to 19 are getting pregnant in with these numbers, it has implication on their health. It has implication for education. Obviously, then it has consequence for national development and poverty alleviation and all of that. So it has a huge consequence, not only for the individual children and their families, but for the country at large. And it calls for, full attention for it to be addressed.
So you say it calls for full attention to be addressed, but let's just break down the numbers a bit. We are looking at some 18,000 of these girls, almost 18,000 coming from the Ashanti region. When you go to the eastern region, about 11,000, central region, 10,000, and then Greater Accra itself and the northern belt accounting for a little over 9,000 each. That is the situation there. And the question then is, looking at the numbers, do we have the right structures in place in terms of dealing with institutions where a lot of this, we've known for a long time that sometimes national service personnel, not all of them definitely, but sometimes they are involved, teachers are involved, when you go to our religious bodies, they are also involved. Have we had the right strategy to curb this situation? And if not, what do you feel we ought to be looking at specifically, Diana?
Let's start by what are the causes of the problem. If we understand what the causes of teenage pregnancy is or are, it will be probably easy to say what strategies are we using and are these strategies working. First and foremost, teenage pregnancy comes about through unprotected sex. And it can also be by teenagers who probably are exploring through adventure or anything like that. We also have a situation where girls are being defiled and raped, a conversation that we're still struggling with. If you see the statistics on defilement and rape in our country, it's not surprising that we have issues with a teenage pregnancy. And we also have a situation of child marriage where we have child rights. If a child is married at age 14 and gets pregnant, the statistics will show that we have a teenager who is pregnant. So if we are able to clearly, and are we having and understand how teenage pregnancy happens and what is informing the statistics, it probably would then be easier to kind of follow and say, is our strategy to respond to it working? If we take, for example, the issue about teenagers just being teenagers and young people and exploring with sex and in the process get pregnant, are we opening up the conversation about protected sex? Are we talking about, is there any form of sex education, especially in our homes and in the school? What is the nature of it? We know that for years, our conversation has been on abstinence. And there's an expectation and assumption that let every child abstain from sex. They are not supposed to be sexually active. But is that really the situation on the ground? Or are we having children, young people, teenagers being sexually active? And for which reason we need to have that realistic, open conversation, including probably making it possible for children to know about protected sex. If they cannot abstain, which is always the safest way of preventing pregnancies and sexually transmitted infection, and they are unable to abstain, then is it possible to have a conversation about protected sex? How is that conversation happening? We are all afraid to open up the conversation on sex, and that's one of our problems. Then talk about sexual abuse and sexual violence and rape and defilement, which is one of the huge drivers of teenage pregnancies. And so if children below 16 cannot consent to sex and people are having sex with them, especially older people, and we are seeing a culture where people are making excuse for older people who are having sex with children and saying that because the children are willing participants to the process, so it's okay. If we are not confronting that head on, and we are sitting and saying because the children are active, they are all grown, their bodies are well developed, we are going to have the issue of these horrifying statistics on our hands. And it also goes to talk about child marriage, which is one of the drivers of teenage pregnancy. Where you marry children and you are marrying them off, and they're going to get pregnant, you expect that to inform the statistics. Are we really, really confronting child marriage? Many people have assumed that child marriage is not being practiced, but each and every region in Ghana, including the urban region, which is Greater Accra, has high cases of child marriage. And so when children are getting married, what is the issue with it? Many may say policy, but already we have a policy in our country, a law that does not allow people below 16 years to be sexually active or be involved in sex. But even with that law, we're having 10-year-olds getting pregnant. So it goes beyond the formulation of law. It goes to implementation, but better still, it goes to a lot of education and a lot of protection of our young ones. So we have the strategy, some of it we need to review, but there's a lot of work.
Let me come to you now, Awal. And Diana has very beautifully laid bare the issues from child marriage to even incest and a lot of the things that happen. But these are just the numbers we happen to know. There are those we don't even know of. These are the numbers we know because these individuals went through certain health facilities where data was gathered. There are others that we might not even know of. In fact, what we don't know of could be even higher than what we are seeing now. And this also is a dip on the previous year, that is 2019's figures. So what do you feel we are not getting right? What are we missing that is getting us such high figures when it comes to teenage pregnancy?
Yeah, so first of all, let me say good morning to your wonderful viewers and listeners, and also to thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important matter. And Ramadan Kareem to all Muslims. And then I think that my dear sister has elaborated a lot of the factors that are responsible for this. There are just two factors that I want to add. One is transactional sex. We have been talking about sex for grades in the universities. Unfortunately, in the communities, we have the phenomenon of sex for food, sex for sanitary pads, sex for other basic needs of adolescent girls. Unfortunately, we have not brought the narrative to a national discourse for the policymakers to listen and take the necessary corrective action. I say sex for food because when you go to some of the communities, there is a hunger gap within a certain period where parents are not able to provide for the adolescent girls. And so they engage in transactional sex. Sex sometimes just to get food and eat along the day. It's heartbreaking, but that's the reality in some of the, and this is evidenced by the Ghana Demographic and Health Survey 2040, saying that the Upper East is one of the areas with the highest rates of transactional sex. So we need to put this in context and address these inequalities within our community. That's posing this. The other issue is around access to contraceptives. And we are talking about 5.5 million of adolescents in Ghana urgently needing contraceptives and not having access to it. This is the stark reality that we are facing. Another issue is the fact that some of our health facilities are not adolescent friendly. So when you are an adolescent and you want to go and access these services, you are criminalized, you don't feel comfortable. So a recent report commissioned by UNICEF, known as the U report, indicates that 43% of people cite, adolescents cite privacy and friendliness as the reason why they do not go, they will want to choose a particular health facility. Unfortunately, they are not choosing these health facilities. So we need to really look into the local context. What are the specific local contexts that are drivers? And then the other thing Dina mentioned is that we need to decriminalize the subject matter. We know that sex is a taboo topic. And so the adolescent people, they engage in it anyway. Young girls as age as 10 years, they are exploring, but they don't have a go-to area to get authentic information. So for me, I think we need to bring back the debate of age-appropriate, comprehensive sexuality education. If we do that, we're able to go to our imams, we're able to go to our pastors, we're able to go to our traditional authorities and open up and let them create an enabling environment where young people can passionately discuss this issue as long as it's age appropriate. People are concerned about the fact that it's against our culture, it's immoral, and that young people keep getting pregnant. When are we going to stop? So we need to have a serious debate around age-appropriate comprehensive sexuality education within our communities and with the necessary stakeholders so that they can become champions and open up and be receptive to adolescents so that the adolescents can be able to voice and raise their concerns before them. They should be comfortable raising their sexuality issues, understanding their bodies before anybody. And if they are not able to do that in certain contexts, they would have access to the wrong information, and unfortunately this situation will continue. And the other thing is also adjudication of cases. We are communities who protect each other, but we only fail to protect our children, especially minors. When minors are defiled, the whole community rallies and says, we are all one people. Let's not watch our dirty linen in public. Unfortunately, we are not putting the interests of the child. When you look at the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, it says that whatever, and even our Children's Act says that whatever we are doing involving children, the best interest of the child should be paramount. Unfortunately, when it comes to issues of defilement, the whole community rallies, you see influential people coming and say that, let's not make this public, let's resolve it. But this is purely criminal. You find chiefs and other opinion leaders adjudicating criminal cases like rape and defilement. We need to stop. It's unfortunate, and we need to put it at the centerpiece of our discussions so that these things will end. So the problems are quite...
So there are numerous issues to discuss, but I want us to pin down the aspect of the law and maybe what else we need to do, because back to some of what you made mention of, the law is in the thick of things here, but in this basket of issues that we have, there is the case of defilement, and if you're having intercourse with a child below 16 years, age 16 is the age of consent. If the person is below 16, you are looking at defilement there. There is also the issue of rape in here as well, which has a maximum penalty of 25 years, same for defilement. And then there is incest in there with a 3-year minimum and a 25-year maximum sentence. What are we not getting right when it comes to the law? Is it the enforcement, and what do we do in that regard?
I think that we're not getting a lot of the enforcement right. For instance, we are looking at a police coverage. The UN standard of police coverage is at least 1 police officer to 500 people. But when you go across Ghana, you realize that in some places the police coverage, police citizen coverage is up to 1,000. And we don't have, all Upper East region, we have 4 stations that have those 2 officers. We are talking about 15 districts, but we only have the domestic violence victim support unit officers, the police officers with the exercise mandate to address this issue. We only have them in 4 districts, and this is across the country. Most of the places do not have this, and where they have those 2 officers, they are not adequately resourced to respond. So for instance, a girl is defiled and she stays about 300 kilometers or 200 kilometers away from the police office or the police station. She has to come and get a medical form to be able to assess herself. She goes to take the medical form and there are hidden charges. She's not able to afford this, and evidence is tampered with because with time it goes. So the police are not able to respond adequately. The systems are not there to be able to support the victim to be able to access this service timeously in terms of the medical report, in terms of the police form that they are. We have heard in some instances where they even charge for police forms and that the guys that copies are short, you need to. So some of these things are disincentive. So we need to look at police coverage. We need to look at resourcing the DOFSU. We need to look at giving them the autonomy to be able to operate in such a way that the influence that comes in terms of rubbishing these cases or taking them out of court to settle is addressed. As for the laws, have them, but the enforcement is the main problem.
Okay. Otiko Afisa-Jaba is the former gender minister and executive director of the Henry Jaba Foundation. She joins the conversation as well. Madam Otiko, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me on, and a good morning to your viewers and yourselves.
Great. It's a pleasure having you, and it's been a while. I can't help it but start from this end, even before we get into the substantive matter. It's been years. You've been out of the public eye. You've gone out of politics. What have you been up to?
I am the executive director and founder of the Henry Jaba Memorial Foundation that focuses on persons with disability and vulnerable women. So since I left politics, I have been very visible around the disability issues and also about gender. It's not only politics that you can do to serve your country. There are so many other issues.
There are so many other issues, and that is one of them that we're tackling this morning. Now, how did you receive the recent statistics in terms of teenage pregnancy? I'm sure during your time as gender minister, you had to battle same. What do you think has changed? Are we making any progress in this respect?
Well, from the statistics, it doesn't look like we're making much progress. I want you to picture a stadium. A stadium has a full capacity of about 100,000 people. So the figures that we are seeing today of over 100,000 teenagers, a child is getting pregnant every, is it 1 hour or 13 minutes? Look at a stadium, Accra Sports Stadium, and see a full capacity. That is the type of thing we are looking at for our children who are getting pregnant. It is frightening. I have 2 daughters, and I wouldn't want them to be involved in teenage pregnancy because it destroys your life. It can kill you because the child's pelvic is not well developed to even have a child. 10-year-olds having children are at health risk. The fact that your destiny could be destroyed. They are sacked from home. They are sacked from school because they are pregnant. Fathers are impregnating daughters. House helps are being impregnated. Teachers are impregnating children. Pastors are impregnating children. It goes on and on and on. And it is not enough for us to say that it is a problem. We must find the solutions because these are the future leaders of our country, future mothers. And if we are not able to resolve it now and curb it, that means this huge number of girls are going to lose out and Ghana will be the loser. And so, for me, I think that it is a collective responsibility where parents, number one, must educate their children on family values. We say poverty is the cause of teenage pregnancy, but I was faced with childhood poverty. But I did not go out there to get pregnant so that I'll be able to be a breadwinner. Yes, children should not be breadwinners. But if you teach them family values about integrity, about the importance of your life, no child should be going out there to go for 5 cedis. How much can 5 cedis buy to sleep with somebody?
Madam Otiko, are you laying...
They must not allow them. I beg your pardon?
Are you laying part of the blame at the doorstep of the children, or is it more of the parents that you're addressing in this?
I am addressing the parents.
Okay.
I am addressing society. I'm addressing the children themselves. I'm addressing the teachers. I'm addressing the mothers. I'm addressing the government and government agencies. We are all part of the problem. But I'm zeroing now on the parents, who must be the first call of teaching family values and letting children understand about their sexuality. You know, in our country, talking about sex and sexuality is a no-go area. It's a taboo. I never saw my father and mother even touching each other in a friendly way, let alone kissing. And so you don't talk about these things to our children. Like I said, no child has ever asked to be born. It is the parents' responsibility to educate the children about who they are as the girl child and the boy child, so that you understand about safe touching and unsafe touching. Some fathers conduct unsafe touching and end up sleeping with their children and getting them pregnant. If the child knows that this is unsafe, they will quickly tell their parents, their mother, that this is going on. It's very important that we put away these archaic ideas of not talking to our children about sexuality, because this is 2021 and childhood has changed. Television has invaded our space, radio, the internet. All these are causes of why we see our children getting involved. Sometimes the children themselves experiment. That's why I say the children too have an issue. I have an issue with them. What are you experimenting for? Childhood is only 18 years old. If you get involved in sex, especially unsafe sex, you can get pregnant and destroy your future. Where are the teachers? Why have they added sex education to social studies? We used to have sex education as a subject. Where are the churches, the mosques? Why is child marriage so prevalent in the Muslim community and in the rural areas? Where are the chiefs? Why do they take schnapps and water and a sheep or whatever when somebody defiles a child? Then the person who has done defilement is allowed to go. Where is the media? Where is the reporting? Anybody can get up and go on the internet, go on to these pornographic sites because they have a phone. Why are parents giving phones to their children? You can watch what you want on television. Mothers are so busy chasing their dreams. I was one of them, being at meetings and world events and what have you, and your home is on fire because you are no longer there because you are the 21st century mother. And you have moved, migration, because we are no longer with our grandparents and family members who would keep an eye on the child when we are at work. And where is the society? Because when somebody talks or hits your child or says something about your child, then you say, hey, it's my child. But our society used to think that the child belongs to the community. And so when you do something to protect somebody's child, you are protecting your own child. Right. But let somebody else talk about your child, and you see how that person will get up in arms against the community member who is trying to help. Our sense of community is lost now. Okay. And we must go back to the reality on the ground that the child belongs to the community. The child is the property of the government. And nobody should be having sex with a child. Okay. And no child should be having sex at all. Because a child is not by law supposed to have sex. And where are the police? The enforcement is a problem. And the other thing I want to say before we move on is the fact that there is a discrepancy, a gap between the law about the fact that when you are 18, you can get married. But when you are 16, you can have consensual sex. Yes. Who does that? That is a gap. And it allows these unscrupulous men and children who don't understand that childhood is the most precious part of life. And it's only 18 years old. When you mess it up, you get a messed adult. Thank you.
So that is a problem with the law. But you look at our laws as well on defilement, on incest, on rape, and the punitive measures involved up to a maximum of 25 years. And I guess most people would say that it is punitive enough. Are we grappling with a problem when it comes to the knowledge of the law? We heard the Somanya District Police Commander actually counseling teachers. It's in today's Daily Graphic that basically they should beware, because if you are caught in any of these acts and if you are convicted, you can't even come back to the profession again. Do you feel we've done enough to educate the population on the facts of the matter, that if you do X, Y, Z, this is what it means? Some people, honestly, are not conscious of some of these things. Have we done enough by way of education?
If we had done enough, we would not be having these figures. The figures speak for themselves.
What ought we to do then?
Child is getting pregnant, then it means that we are not doing enough. In the rural areas, you don't have as much television and as much radio. Where is the NCCE, the information services? Are they going around to talk to parents in the rural areas? And that's where we are hardest hit. The highest figures are in rural Ghana, where there isn't enough information. But in terms of values, who does not know that it is wrong for a child to get pregnant? Tell me that. Who does not know that it is wrong for a father to sleep with their child or a brother to sleep with their sister? Those are things that we know. But the lack of enforcement and the fact that when a child gets pregnant, we feel ashamed and we hide it. We throw the child out as if it will solve the problem. We throw the child out of school. And then the child is the victim. The child has been defiled. Anybody under 18, according to the Children's Act, is a child. And you cannot say that they have consented because they don't understand what they are doing. If they are experimenting, they shouldn't be, because we are not telling them that it is wrong. And so we must understand that in as much as education is going on, it is still not reaching some of our people. And so the NCCE and the information services, the parents, the teachers, the media must drum it in and drum it in and drum it in until we curb this menace. It is unacceptable for anybody to go and impregnate a 10-year-old. I saw a 10-year-old in Manfidove, and I thought she had a tumor, but she was pregnant. I could not believe it, that a 10-year-old could be pregnant. And the figures were huge in that area of the Volta region. Why is this happening to our daughters? It is important that we as a society should ourselves embark on a campaign, a crusade. It's not only the media, it's not only the parents. This is larger than all of us and the government. We must all become crusaders and ambassadors and campaigners against teenage pregnancy. And let everybody in every village know that this is not on. And for as long as we continue to drum it in and enforce the laws, we don't enforce in this country. Ghana is one of the countries that has signed all the protocols and has so many laws. And yet, unfortunately, we are not able to enforce them.
That is a sad situation.
And the resources of the social welfare must also be boosted up. Go to social welfare offices. They are not resourced. Go to the DOFSO. You cry for them. These are the agencies that are supposed to help to enforce. And yet, they lack the infrastructure. They lack the resources. There is a lot to be done. It's not a one-day workshop. Where are the psychologists? We need to work together as a people, as a community of Ghanaians, and ensure that we get it right this year. Okay. No child can wait. It should not be too late for somebody's child.
Okay, we must get it right from this year, and that is quite an important call that you make there. But Diana, if you look at the numbers we are seeing, you can also tell that some of these, in fact, a lot of these cases may not have come to our attention because they were not recorded. They didn't go through health posts for the data to be put together. But there's an interesting twist to this discussion. Section 8 of the Domestic Violence Act 2007 provides that a victim of domestic violence, including sexual abuse, is, and I quote, is entitled to free medical treatment from the state. The reason I bring this up is that you go to as far back as 2017, Martin Kwebu, lawyer Kwebu, went to court to demand that the state be reminded that by law it should have in 2007 established a Victims of Domestic Violence Support Fund. In today's Daily Graphic, as currently as today, now that we're having this discussion, the International Federation of Women Lawyers is bringing up the same matter. I am tying the two together because even when it comes to reporting cases or getting the data, sometimes we don't get them because the reports are not there, the medical care is not accessible. What do you feel we can do about this situation, Diana?
I'm sorry, the internet, you got disconnected when we were talking about the section of the Domestic Violence Act that required something. I didn't
So I mainly made mention of Section 8, and it talks about those who are abused, who suffer domestic violence, including sexual abuse, having access to free medical care. Now, this is something that over the years, different people have fought for, including the likes of Martin Kwebu. But I was making mention of the fact that in today's Daily Graphic, we are back to square one because the International Federation of Women Lawyers is raising that same issue once more when it comes to rape, when it comes to access to medical health care. And I'm tying it to the fact that we may not even know the full details, data of those suffering from these incidents because of some of them not even going through our health posts. What do we do about it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people are not going through the systems that would make it easy to capture them in the data. And it could not only be the fact that the medical care is not free, but it could also be that because of stigma and fear, they actually may not show up at any avenue to be supported so that they are captured in the statistics. So, I mean, that's a reality. I will come back also to the issue of medical care. I think there are two slightly different issues. One of it is the fact that when people suffer domestic violence and sexual abuse, when you go to the police station to make a report, the police requires that you fill up a medical form from a public health facility that is signed by a public medical professional, which is used as an evidence document to court. That medical form, before it's signed, the facility requires that people pay some fee. And that fee ranges between 300 Ghana cedis to about
a bit of connection issues with Diana's, feed there, but we're hoping she can quickly reconnect so she makes the point that she was trying to make initially. But it's a discussion we're having on curbing teenage pregnancy, and the statistics make for very, very unfortunate reading. As you can see on your screen, the Ashanti region with over 17,000 cases, the Eastern region 10,000, Central 10,000, Northern, and then you come down to the Greater Accra region. There is a serious problem we are facing in this country. What is the way forward? That's why we're having this discussion. Diana, is the connection better now? If not, I will move on to Awal. Awal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Now, looking at all the different dynamics that we are facing, you are in the rural areas, and it appears this is rife in such areas. The media, the police, the health facilities, what more do you feel we should be doing to help stem the tide of this? Chiefs as well. What do you see to be the way forward in that respect?
Yeah, so I think we need to involve more male in this discussion. And I want to put on context that those charges they charge at the hospitals for the medical reports are illegal. They're not supposed to charge victims any fee because per the law, they're not supposed to pay any money for such services. So when you know, they don't charge you. It's those who do not know. Unfortunately, there's a lot of ignorance about it. So we need to work with more male champions. We need to have men and boys fronting this debate, and naming and shaming is also critical. So, but first of all, let me thank JoyNews for bringing this data and making it public. This data has been sitting in DIMS over the years. That's the Health Information Management System for ages, and we don't pay attention to it. So this shows the power of the media. It actually connects to the. So we need a strong advocacy in terms of increasing visibility of the issue at the community level by the media. We need to involve male champions. We need to work with the chiefs to understand their locus and where they stand in terms of these cases. Criminal cases shouldn't be adjudicated. And I think we need to also break down the data. We have lumped age 10 to 15, and then there is another age. So we need to break down those who are less than. We need to break it down to say age 10 to 15 so that we know that these are clearly children. The issue of consent will not come in. And then take corrective action. So for instance,
we actually have those between ages 10 to 14. There are about 3,000 of them. They've been singled out. So there are actually 3,000 or so, close to 3,000 of them aged between 10 and 14 years.
Yes, and exactly. So, but there's a one age group that is missing. That is 15. Age of consent is 16 years. So we are missing another bracket. The 15-year-old groups, they also have the right to be access to justice because they have been defiled. It's a clear case of defilement because they are underage. But that age group is not categorized under the children. That's the point I'm making. It's lumped up in the 16. So we need to take out that data and see. The other issue is around when you consider at the community level, we have LEAP. LEAP is the social protection program that they have. We are advocating that when you go to the communities, let's tie the ability and qualification of LEAP to the ability of the community, the household, to protect the girl child. So if you have so many teenage pregnancies, by the way, according to UNICEF, 1 in 10 women cite pregnancy for the reason for not going to school. So we are saying that if you go to the community or a village, if you are able to protect your girls and make sure that all adolescent girls complete at least senior high school without getting pregnant, then you are eligible for LEAP. Your LEAP amount could even be increased per the household that have vulnerable adolescent girls. We increase their LEAP so that the LEAP package that they are having, as it is, a single family takes 64 cedis. So can we say that a family that has adolescent girls those are vulnerable to child marriage and teenage pregnancies, can we increase their leap? Can we also make it a qualification criteria? So that if you have the ability to take care of girls, then this community. So you see that we have a watchdog in the form of leave beneficiaries policing each other and ensuring that the duty bearers are doing the right thing. Because the duty bearers know that with the leave, the burden of care even on them is less. So we need to incentivize the community by way of information, by way of necessary enabling policies, and we need to trigger some of these actions at the community level so that they can do it. So we need to break down the data, send it out, and regularly. And I commend JoyNews seriously for doing this, and we must make it a continuous effort so that more people will get to know about the information and take the necessary corrective action against it. And we have a lot of NGOs working in this regard, but the challenge has been the lack of coordination in terms of everybody working in their silos. And then also GS need to open up for civil society to be able to work with them in the schools. As it is now, if you want to work with a local chapter of the Ghana Education Service, they tell you that you need approval from the headquarters. I'm a local NGO. We are based in a local community with a small budget that cannot take us to Accra to head office to seek things. But they require that you go to head office to seek approval to come and work in schools. But thankfully, this is beginning to change because they have now set up focal offices for NGOs. And we are hoping that we'll be able to work with this to normalize things. But we need to break this taboo thing.
Okay.
Let it think that.
Madam Otiko, now one thing that we realized in different countries, Kenya and others, they cited the fact that COVID-19 had led to some of these issues of teenage pregnancy because the girls were not in school. We're still in the throes of COVID-19 and our children have been back in school. What do you feel we ought to be doing on the educational front to prevent similar incidents? Do you even think that COVID-19 also amounted to part of what we are seeing?
Yes, thank you for that question. COVID-19 had a huge role to play on the increases in the numbers of girls who have been victims of teenage pregnancy. Remember that they were out of school for a whole year. The devil makes work for idle hands. For 1 year, when children are not in school, what are they supposed to be doing? Especially when they have busy parents. The parents have to go to work to feed them. And so they would get involved in experimentation, in the people who are raping young girls and what have you. So definitely COVID-19 had an impact, a negative impact, not only on the economy, but on the increases that we have seen in terms of teenage pregnancy. The fact is that beyond COVID-19 is parenting. And so we must get our parents seriously engaged in organizing their responsibilities better and in fulfilling those responsibilities. No child has ever asked to be born. It is your responsibility when you bring that child into this world to educate them about their sexuality, to keep them safe by teaching them about the things that will protect them. And so if you are a busy mother, you need to be able to sit with even your child from the minute they can talk and begin to educate them about their sexuality. You cannot say that the child is too young. Because even somebody said to me that even babies are being molested, and we know about that. And we also have to ensure that post-COVID-19, we support the social welfare to do their work. Right. The DOFSO, ensure that the police are enforcing the law and that the chiefs are not accepting the usual rants and schnapps and what have you. And that all of us, instead of blaming somebody, we blame all of us. Each one of us is the problem. Society should not continue to look on and say that it is somebody's child. We must understand that a child belongs to the community. And parents should not be saying that it is not your child, it's my child, so don't interfere. Because you can't cope on your own. That is why we are a community.
Okay.
So beyond COVID-19, all of us, the teachers, the pastors, the Islam community, the CSOs, the media, the children themselves, because some children defile other children. Some children
get exposed to sex at an early age out of peer pressure or out of sheer curiosity. Some because of poverty, what have you. COVID-19 is not going anywhere. It's going to be with us like measles. It's going to be with us like tuberculosis. But you have to take a vaccination, wear your mask, and what have you. And so we must protect our children by teaching them family values.
Okay.
To understand that they are the most precious gift that God has given to us. And we have a responsibility as a community of Ghanaians to bring up and nurture these children to take their rightful place in our society, to contribute to the development of Mother Ghana better.
Okay.
And so the information services and the, what do you call them, the NCCE. Should all get their acts together. They've all gone to sleep. The teachers must bring out sex education, but teaching a child about their sexuality is not only for the teachers. That the first call is the parents.
Okay, so point very well made there. I'll be picking brief concluding comments from all three of you. And Diana, it's unfortunate that the connection has not been that good. But Otiko, I'll start with you since you're already speaking. I'll pick your final comments, and I want you to skew it toward some advice. Counsel for the current gender minister, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. What sort of advice would you give her, as someone who has occupied this portfolio, what advice would you give her to help stem the tide of teenage pregnancy?
I don't think that is fair for you to ask me to be advising the current
Well, you have experience and minister. You could bring it to bear. That is all that I'm asking.
My advice is going to the whole of society. One, government must increase the budget of the Ministry of Gender, and the government must also ensure that the social welfare are well resourced, the DOFSO are well resourced, the infrastructure, the tools that they need, that there are psychologists, psychiatrists to help all these people, that the law must be enforced, and that the social interventions like the LEAP must also be spread to families that really need it because of the issues of poverty. The fact that we have skills training must also be given to whoever has already been affected, like the Kayaye. Young girls should not be thrown out of the house. You rather increase the dangers and the risks. We must ensure that we enforce the law. When somebody has gone to have sex with another, even if it is a child, when it is a child, we understand it's not a criminal offense. But is murder not an offense? When a child kills another child, is it not a criminal offense? So when a child has sex with another child, it should be a criminal offense. And we must ensure that we enforce the law, not because somebody is a rich man, somebody is somebody's father, somebody is the pastor's son, and so when they go and make somebody's child pregnant, they should let them go. The other thing I want to draw attention to is honor. A lot of families look at family honor, and because of the family honor, you reject your child. Because of the family honor, you protect the perpetrator. That is unforgivable. It is the girl child who is the victim. She should not be thrown out of the house. We should protect her at all costs. And please, accidents happen. When she is raped, when something bad happens and she gets pregnant, she needs love. And we need to embrace her, not reject her. Okay. We can take the children or the child and help her to go back to school, because education will take her out of this intergenerational problem and make sure that the poverty cycle in the family will be broken, because this little child who has gotten herself pregnant or has been raped or for whatever reason has become pregnant is able to go to school beyond that. Getting pregnant is not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that go get pregnant. Girls, shut your legs. Shut your legs and get educated and be somebody, because Ghana and yourself knows that you are precious.
Potent advice there.
You have denied yourself the right. And those unscrupulous men, I will not say anybody should castrate them, but they should zip their pants. Thank you very much.
The men should zip their pants. Interesting way to conclude. Diana, what would be your concluding remarks? Hello, Diana.
Apologies for the terrible internet connectivity at my end. I would say that by the statistics, year after year, there's no doubt that teenage pregnancy is a huge issue. It's an issue that cannot be ignored. And I would say to a large extent, as a society, we've played the moralist card in such a way that has been disadvantageous to us. We've played our cards about sex education in such a way that has increased the risk for our young girls and put our future at risk. If girls are being impregnated, repeated with such high numbers, we have seen the consequence on their education, their health, and the cycle of poverty that will follow them and their children puts the country at a higher risk. Who takes care of the children that these children bring into the world? And how are they also protected to break the cycle of sexual abuse? I think we should open the conversation not only about sex education, but the issue about sexual abuse in our country. It's a big one. We've taken it so lightly and allowed the justice system probably around defilement and sexual abuse should be a bit more responsive than it is now. You mentioned the issue of our medical care and support. One of the journeys towards justice is actually getting a medical report from the doctor to the police that will go to the court. If getting that is a problem, how then will you get justice for victims and use that as a way to prevent continuous abuse? So it's all around us, and we need to have a concerted, much more integrated way to respond to these cases. Beyond that, the girls, the statistics we have before all of us, they're actually names and they're actually lives of our children. What happens to them, for example, re-entry into school? How does our policy admit them back? Are we seeing the end to their education and a brighter future? Are we seeing them stigmatized and left to their fate? Or we're having an education system that is receptive to the fact that such things are occurring and will be able to get them back into school and get them back on track?
Right.
Are we addressing the issues of child marriage and etc.? So we need to have this conversation repeatedly. And I had a while congratulating you for picking it up and giving it enough time, like today, to talk about it. And I believe that after here, the conversation is not going to die off. And we should continue to make it a priority. It's a huge, to have 100,000 girls pregnant. I mean, if that doesn't scare all of us, then I don't think anything else will.
Okay.
And we need to really, really step up our game and do some more work about it, but open the conversation on sex education, open the issues around sexual abuse, name it as it is, name and shame abusers, prosecute them, get them off our streets so that our children will be protected. We have no other option than to protect our
Diana,
future.
thank you so much. And the conversation continues. We shall play our part. But a big thank you to Otukwa Afisa Jaba, former gender minister, and also executive director, Henry Jaba Foundation. Diana Adiko, you just heard her, former technical director, gender ministry. And we also were joined by Alhaj Awal Ahmed Karyama, executive director for Rise Ghana. Now, coming up next, we're talking about safety on our roads. Today, we'll be live from the Kaneshie Takoradi station, where there is this application that is being piloted, and it's helping save lives by checking the speed of drivers and more. Mamavis Owusu Abwaje will engage developers of the app and some drivers who have used this application. That is up next on the AM show. Do stay.
The education, those are also being quite innovative, coming up with various innovative ideas. In conjunction with the National Road Safety Authority, a group of people have developed an app. It's called the Oya app, and it helps make travel a lot easier, and in case of emergencies as well on the road, whether accidents or anything of a sort, it gets families quickly connected and authorities also connected to the people involved in such incidents. So I've come to the main Kaneshie Takoradi station to catch up with one of the team members of the app, the team that developed the app, and also engage with the station master to see how, first of all, the app functions and how it's been helpful to their work. and also ultimately how it has helped to reduce fatalities on our roads. So come to me as I meet Kwejo. And Kwejo is one of the team members that developed this app. And then also we'll catch up with the station master of this station. I want to say good morning to you, Kwejo.
Yes.
Thank you so much for meeting us here.
Yeah.
And this is your Oya app.
Exactly.
All right. First of all, we want to know how it works. Tell us about, first of all, the objectives. You can. Tell us about the objectives of this app, how it functions as well.
So, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. First of all, the objective of the app is it's not an app alone, but it's an app. We have a website, we have a USSD, and that's the same thing. And the objective is to help passengers or put the safety of the passengers in their hands so that they become part of the process as they travel. For so long a time in this part of our world is not about the passenger. The passenger has no say. But we are getting to an age where the passenger must also know what happens to him or her whilst he's traveling. Just like where we have people going to the doctors, and now doctors trying to explain what is wrong with him. Some years back we can't do that. And we think that is where we are now, an electronic age.
All right, let's try and catch up with the process. What is happening now as a passenger comes in to purchase a ticket? This is where it all starts.
Yes.
Explain the process.
All right, so this is where it all starts, as you said. Now, first, when the passenger comes, we need 4 things from the passenger. If he's a first-time traveler, that's the name, the number, and 2 emergency contacts. Now, what it means is that the passenger will provide this, and within sometimes a minute or less than a minute, that is done. Now, the number is the identifier. So anytime the passenger comes back, he doesn't need to go through the process again. He only mentions the number, and then he's been captured. Once he is captured, the system sends you an SMS. That is a ticket, and then at the same time telling you the bus on which you are traveling. The ticket has all the information that you gave, and then the driver who is taking you, the station, and all that information that is needed on your phone. So just after that, he takes his manual ticket in addition.
And let's get Infantino. I'm afraid I have to call him Infantino. That's my camera technician.
Okay.
Let's get him to also focus on another passenger so that we see how quickly this happens. Just in a matter of seconds, we've had one person register and the other person also come through. And this is a third person even as we speak real quick here right now. But we all know if you are, and I'm sure that a lot of people have traveled from every part of the country. You know how it works. Before this, you would get a manual ticket. They're not going to ask you for your number or emergency numbers, relatives that they can call in case of emergency. But let's talk about the purpose for this. This is a fantastic idea, but what purpose does it serve?
All right, so what purpose it serves is that, we travel a lot in this country, but we travel and we don't know who we travel with. In case of emergencies, who we should contact. You hear accident happens or emergency situations come up, and then we find it difficult even to get to know who the emergency contact or who we can contact in that situation. So the purpose is to help these travelers be part of the process in which they are traveling. So one, if there's any emergency, we can easily pull the manifest and then contact the emergency contacts. Your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, whoever's contact you gave, we will do that. Now, secondly, the passenger is also able to tell us what goes on the road. The executives do not travel with them on the bus. So once you go onto the web or the app, you will be able to report the driver's behavior, and then the officials or the executives will take it up and then talk to the driver if there's a need for that. Yes, we've had a series of reports coming, those who are recommending good drivers, those who are saying that, oh, this driver, no. At one time, somebody even reported that And driver, when the driver was misbehaving, over speeding, and they says, "Oh, I mean, we passed that age. We passed that age where a driver can just talk like that to a customer. So these are some of the things that the executives want to know, so that they can, up the game or up their business for the passengers also to be endeared to them.
Okay, great. So how is it all connected to reducing the fatalities and deaths on our roads?
All right, it is because one, if the driver is overspeeding, and we know that overspeeding is one of the major causes of these fatalities, the passenger is able to report that behavior earlier on to the executive. There is a number, there is a place where you can put up a message, and once they see it, they can even stop the driver and talk to the driver.
So this is to say you don't have to come back to Accra, or you don't have to get to your destination, which is Takoradi, to report it.
No.
You can actually do it.
Exactly, it's live reporting.
In the course of the trip.
Yes, it's live reporting.
Great.
Yes.
I want to engage the station master, the chairman of the station, because he would know a great deal in terms of passenger reaction and how they've taken this. So Mr. Ansah is right there. I want to say good morning to you, Mr. Ansah. You have to tell the person calling to hold on so I can engage you real quick on this matter. Maybe a second for him to wrap up. But Ms. Ansah, good morning. Infantino, I want you to, as we speak, also focus when people are buying tickets, so we see how quickly this happens. Ms. Ansah, you buy a money app, and they have to say you develop here help you with ticketing. It's like tracking passengers and they drivers and the driver they Accra Takoradi kind of something. If you see this, say that app no etimi aboa.
Okay, app no dey buy aboa yen pa ne yakwentuo nyina aboa yen pa. Because say obi fuka na you're tracking the panel, you're tracking driver, no any passenger you show movement, speed at driver no call, any do OCB who cancel. Bibiano, you tracking to your station, and they were high, you would driver be or could be adding movement. The passengers are more car any movement.
But you never say I had of the NK Papa. And before, I make us say I had of the Papa, before Bentem. Partial. In California, would trace some of your details or the phone number, the emergency number.
Yes, started easy, but the no Macana for the Matias here. On say station Hano, passengers never Hanaye. Oma, most of them no call, no Masaba, Dibia, until this is no more Casanti. And then no passengers be Bahano, newer. Maybe about 20%. All of old passengers are no more demanding. You so educate your first and then easy by sister or more tears.
Indeed, you find so be up, you buy a pass back by your metro, according to that. Obia was a pass, and so be our money details, I will be unresisting.
Obia money details.
Indeed, practically, no. We are then our control drivers, they will find us. So, say, there will be speedier. When examples of issues are about change, and how have you tried to resolve it?
Okay, so be speedy and also wrong overtaking so kind of passenger nankasa fraying officer. No, I catch you say driver no and yakra ebi ohana mama passenger na de phone na come driver no na me na kasa bia me man stop na me na busa no ye koso na me ne passengers ni nyina edi komo no passengers na hu say ye monitor omo yeah me ma the phone na come driver no na ya kasa na ma friend no na ma man warning say the way ye passengers ni nyina ye video omo wo ye station ha to an hwe ni ya ebe ha no ti sa na ye koso edi o
na e man accident so a e wo kwan so a say na esibwa efa.
Okay, say the data net no say accident bi ba you be monitor passengers ni nyina hu afre from abusuafo eno dey bad started the being accident bi ansi kwan so one of we na me say obi yare but I'm afraid no I friend the yan contact number na friend no entama no mo ba be share no boy
enti wo sha a speeding process now, and I say I slow it down. How all in all, no,
Aboy, ama passengers na be full bus no how much wo confidence say pass no between the omodu nti aboy pa.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ansa. Mr. Ansa is chairman of this station, and we've essentially been talking about this. So this doesn't cost the passenger any extra fee?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. And this exists here in this Kanishi Takrady station. Where else is this app
currently
up and running?
Yes, currently we are working in about 7 loading points. When I say loading point, that is where the route. So we have Kanishi Takrady, we have Takrady Kanishi back, we have Takrady Aflao, we have Kumasi, Circle Kumasi on some particular station, and at a few other places.
So is this going to be expanded? Because you've been trying this since when?
When we started the pilot itself is last year February.
Okay.
Last year February, and so we've been working even in the COVID, and people felt that it's because of the COVID, because even in terms of COVID, tracing is very important. If anybody has it, we can trace the person. If you remember, even the COVID time, there was somebody who traveled to the north, and then it became a whole issue. How could we trace the person? But if anything like this, immediately we can trace the person and then see what we can do. So we're going to scale it. We are working with road safety, and they want us to do about 150 more loading points, and then for 3 months to see how this is going to be. So we are working on it.
So Mr. Ansa talked to me about how it's been helpful in emergency situations. But from the other loading points that you have on your radar, what has been some of the experiences?
Well, I think in Takrady we've had some experiences in Takrady. One time, for instance, somewhere last year, about 6 months ago, a passenger lost his phone. Somebody picked the phone on the bus when they were going to Takrady. And through the manifest, the passenger got his phone back in about a week and a half time, because we had to provide a manifest to the Takrady branch. They involved the police investigation, and then the person who took the phone brought the phone back to the passenger. There have been 2 situations where in Takrady passengers collapsed on the buses, and immediately they had to pull the the manifest, and then they were called the emergency contacts, and then they came to take them away. Without it, all that the station would have done is to carry them and put them in the hospital. Now, who are you going to call? And they will not wait to take care of you. They will put you there and leave you. It's your parents or your family members who are supposed to come and do that. So with the manifest, immediately we call them. And one person almost every day comes to thank them that they were able to do that for her. Yeah.
I was also learning about the parents who could not be connected to her child.
Yes, that is true. Somewhere about 3-4 months ago, there was an accident on the Kumasi Road involving one of the buses that we are working on. And we took the pain to call the passengers who were involved in the accident. In fact, everybody on the bus. There were about 13 passengers. It's a minibus. And we called all of them. So we realized that even some of them didn't have money. So it's like I'm traveling. My last money is 40 cedis. I get here, I pay, finish, thinking that safely I can get back home. Unfortunately, something happens. Then you are in trouble. So one gentleman, for instance, didn't have any money, and his phone, he didn't have credit on the phone. So when it happened, he went to the hospital. They said they wouldn't take care of him. He didn't have money. And so as we were calling, we called him, and he said this was his problem, and he even wanted to get to the mother. So we connected the mother on a conference call, and then the mother was crying because he had also heard that something like that had happened. But how to get to the boy was also a problem. And immediately they were happy, and then we left them. So probably the mother would have sent some money or whatever, yes, but we left them at that. So we see that it helps. Emergency situations especially, and you never know when an emergency can come.
Absolutely.
And when it comes, that is where you need it so much. And so we think that it's something that it will help their own businesses, especially the transport organizations, to help their game.
Great. We've been talking about a road safety app that's been developed. Kojo is part of the team, and he's been telling us about functions and benefits. We've engaged the station master, or the chairman of this station, which is the main Kaneshi Takrady station, also about the experiences on the ground. What do you see in your shop now? Are passengers coming through to buy tickets, and they're just going through the process of registration? Hitherto, you would just, you probably won't say anything. You just buy your ticket, just give the money and they take your ticket for you. But now there's some form of interaction. That's because they take a lot of details of the passenger, including emergency numbers that authorities could contact in case of emergencies on the road. And I'm also pretty excited about the aspect of passengers reporting drivers who are carelessly driving sometimes or speeding on the road, so they can be talked to not only when they get to their final destination, but in the course of the travel as well. We hope that this is helpful in reducing the number of road accidents that we continue to record on our road. This conversation is part of our Drive Safe campaign. We're still exploring, of course, ways of reducing road accidents, and this app certainly has come to help. So I want to say thank you to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to, the focus of this whole thing is to get, we are getting into a digitalization era, technology. And so currently we are able to just, once we do that, you get your ticket on your phone. And you can pay with your mobile money, which we get people paying with mobile money all the time.
So you can also avoid traveling with cash.
Exactly, cash light, which is the point. And the passengers are happy. They are not complaining. They think that is something good for them to do. And you know one thing, to reduce accidents or the incidence of accidents, we can also even buy your tickets and then wait for the bus where you are. For instance, you are traveling to Takrady, and then you are in Winneba. People buy tickets from Winneba here, and then you wait for it. Now, once you buy that, it indicates on our system here. The systems are two. This is a different one from the one we use for the passenger. So it indicates on the system here, and then they will check you into the bus.
So they leave your space for you, reserve your seats
exactly.
until you get to Winneba and jump on
exactly.
the bus. That's such...
Exactly. And so you don't need to travel from Winneba to here to come and pick the bus. And you can wait anytime the bus gets there. We are now putting some tracking. And so the passenger is able to track the bus as it's coming, so that he also doesn't waste too much time waiting for the bus at the roadside.
Oh, great. That's some kind of innovation right there. Well, thank you. I will try and see if I can engage some of the passengers just before we wrap up.
Yes.
And see how convenient this is. I see a gentleman who is going through the process, and I'll try and see if I can get a few words from him in terms of how it has been.
Can I get one for you?
Like, yes, you can try and get me a few people who are willing to speak to me about this process. Live from the station. And we're talking about
what would to happen?
Safety.
Okay, so okay, my baby sound. We take it now. Also,
reckless driving, and then also easy contact during emergencies. Boss, good morning. Pacho, we'll take it now. I better know any questions or maybe sound the numbers now. I'm not listening to this. Well, first time I will take it to a hand. I shall say, okay, it's a no buy and details and dromogy, and yet the same thing in a no magic.
Applied into the same number.
Okay, it's a day out of mouth.
me the telephone number mom guess there na via BBC I'm going to my from this phone.
Me nim say enkane no anka wo ba ko bi anjo telephone number no aso be chat tickets na ko into wo sha we eboa ana
I fine because uba na uba be chat tickets no now wo waji wo telephone number case BBC am betuma be share bibia wo free and I fine.
I said, okay, you come and say, Uchia Bibia, but I say, we won't hear Bibia and come on to the Yamidasi Brace on the because I said Jenny as well. That's a passenger sharing his experience and talking about the benefits of the app as well. I want to engage the ladies that you've probably been seeing in your shop for a while, even as they sell ticket. My name is Man can't share that day, but good morning. Into first, number one, I'm chat tickets. Paper tickets, no, I'm baby, sir. Paper tickets, no. Which are paper tickets, neither?
Oh, me try be that.
Now swear.
Actually, me try be that.
Okay. So maybe say na mo ye. Mo check for details no. Say na eko.
Oh, eko ye. But first, no, the passengers need be ba. Be crying. Because I think on funny details. He or she doesn't know what we are doing. But as time goes on, they are doing it. They don't complain much. They don't complain. But the moment they come, they will just give you their number, then they buy their tickets.
So this is it. I understand that if this is the first time that I have come to buy a ticket, you take more details, but if I come again, there are some details that you won't take from me.
Yeah, when you come, at first we will register you, we take your number, then your name, then emergency number. But when you come, next time when you come, you only take your phone number, then it enrolls you on the system. The system enrolls you because already we have your details, so it just enrolls you.
Right. And just as we're wrapping up, I just want to talk to Kojo about people giving wrong telephone numbers. Does it also come up?
Well, we have not had the experience yet, but it's possible that you can have such situations. It's possible to happen. I think once it happened here. I think it was a lady that was here when he came. And then he said, oh, he's done it before. He's done it before. Why is it that his number is not? So I put her aside and quietly talked to her, trying to find out. And then reasoning with her, he said, oh, okay, I used some other number. So these things happen. It happens. But then until something happens and we see the reality, that is where people will think that, no, we can't lie. But I mean, whatever it is, you can't take it out. Some of these things will happen. Okay. Last week, I don't know if you heard that they said in now some passengers or some people just travel on the buses just to be able to get their victims to steal them, to steal things from them. And it happened on Melinda, on the Kumasi, yes. And so they were trying to warn passengers to take care of their things carefully and all those things. These are some of the things that can happen. If a passenger knows that that is what he's going to do, he may likely give you a wrong number. And so we are looking at how we can also put up some measures.
Okay. Are they able to send WhatsApp and text messages on the bus instead of telephone call?
Yes, they send text messages.
Okay, because I'm thinking that in cases where there are robbery incidents, for instance, you can't be seen talking on your phone, but you can send a quick text.
Exactly. There is a button in case of any, you just press.
Okay.
And then you send the signal to the authorities responsible. Okay. So the app is still in development. There are so many things on it. You can share your ride. You can so many things.
So if I'm traveling, I can share my ride with my family so that they will know how my bus is traveling. Fantastic. Well, I'll leave the rest to you at home, in your office, wherever you're watching this, so you can explore further and also check out the benefit. But remember, we need you to be safe on the road. This conversation is all because we want passengers, we want travelers, we want commuters to arrive safely wherever they go. My name is Mama Vioso. Today, live from the Kaneshi Takrady station on our Drive Safe campaign, exploring a road safety app called Oya.
So how we're harnessing technology to save lives on our roads. Interesting matters there. We're going to take a bit of a break. When we return, it's all about NSMQ 2021. From up north and down south here, we bring you all the filler. Do stay.
The finals of the 2018 contest at the National Theatre had many neutral supporters throwing their weight behind West Africa SHS to win the trophy for the first time. That did not happen as St. Peter's won with just 1 point. Contestants of WAS say they are optimistic of doing what their seniors couldn't do.
West Africa Secondary School has qualified to the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz. Now they beat Tema Senior High School with just 1 point.
Emmanuel.
Okay, tell me, what does it feel like beating Tema Secondary School with just 1 point?
It's one very great opportunity. Like, this contest was really challenging, but through the help of God and our efforts, we know we have been able to do this, and then we know that gradually from here we'll make it to the next stage of the competition.
Okay.
Nothing but the best. We did some in 2018, and sure we are true to, and we are capable to do what we did in the previous years. Okay. That's in 2018.
Okay. Should we expect what happened in 2018 to happen in 2021? Maybe this time you're winning it too.
Sure, even better than what we did in 2018. By the grace of God, we're going to bring this cup to us, West Africa Senior High School.
Okay. What's your name?
Garba Michael.
It's nothing but the best, as my senior said. And we'll try and put in much effort next time.
Tema SHS contestant Aliyu Hajaratu Yahya could not hold back her tears.
Tema Senior High School missed out on qualifying to the 2021 competition with just 1 point. It's a sad moment for them right now. You can see one of them cried. Let me speak to the lady and then I'll come to you.
We placed a lot of preparation into this. That's why it's paining.
Wow. You sad that you can't make it to the 2021 competition?
All is well. It's because that's what God has planned for us. That's why it has happened.
Okay. But what does the National Science and Maths Quiz mean to you students?
It means a lot to us. It gives us opportunities to know how we are, like our strengths.
Okay.
Nada.
For a colleague, Ni Aflutete, the Joy Learning channel helped with his preparations.
I was watching Joy Learning. I even joined the maths quiz. They were doing maths quiz and I participated. And I also won coupon.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Joy Learning is good. They should keep watching and keep learning, because it's true that I learned a lot of things that helped me for the science and maths.
Oh, okay.
So they should keep watching and keep learning.
And this contest, it's really hard because we put in a lot of effort to get here, and only 1 mark difference causing us to fall back is very painful.
Okay.
But all we need to do is there is more after this.
Okay. Okay. There's more to come.
Yes.
Okay.
Holy Trinity Cathedral Senior High School booked a place at the national competition in October after beating Adan Senior High School and Teshi Presby SHS. Tema Methodist Day and Our Lady of Mercy Senior High School also qualified to join Monday's qualification contests.
So from there, we cross over to the Accra College of Education, and we have Manuel Kranting on that beat. Maxwell Agbaba, I should say, on that beat. Maxwell, so what can you tell us from the Accra College of Education? What exactly is happening now? Preparations ahead of today's contest.
Exactly, Benjamin. So we have the participating schools arriving on the ground. Right from here, I can see Laboni Senior High School. They arrived some minutes ago, and their teachers are actually taking them through some, pep talk, psyching them up from the contest that will be happening later today. But you can see behind me, so this is what happened yesterday, the last contest for the day. Ebenezer SHS, Forces Senior High Technical School. We also had Community Senior High School, English from Senior High School. That was the last contest that happened for the day. The last school that was part of that contest was the Tema Methodist Senior High School. It was a walk in the park for Tema Methodist Senior High School as they qualified to the 2021 National Science and Math Quiz. But the contest that has got a lot of people talking, many people talking, is the West Africa Secondary School contest. And especially so because, like you watched some minutes ago, they won that particular contest with just 1 point. Now we remember at West Africa Secondary School in 2018 at the National Theatre when they put up that good show, at the grand finale. They missed out by just 1 point. And something similar happened yesterday when they won their contest with just 1 point against Tema Senior High School. Many of the students from Tema Secondary School were very disappointed because they thought they were very close to get into the 2021 competition, but their hopes were dashed by the guys from the West Africa Secondary School. Hotcast took part in the first contest and they booked the first slots from the Greater Accra region to qualify to the next stage. Now to some contests that we should be looking forward to today. We have Okay, so I'm going to get the contest for you shortly, some of the contests that we have later today. But we know that St. Thomas Aquinas is actually competing today. St. Thomas Aquinas, we know, one-time winners of the National Science and Maths Quiz. They won the competition in 2013. Now they are the only day school to have won the National Science and Maths Quiz. In fact, in 2013, when they won that competition, a lot of people were happy for them, hoping that they'll be able to win it again, but they've not been able to do that. So 2013 they won it, they've never won the competition again. Now in 2020 they missed out on the opportunity of getting to the quarterfinals. They were actually kicked out by Prempeh College in that contest between Prempeh College at Santaman and then St. Thomas Aquinas Senior High School. Prempeh College actually won that contest, and then St. Thomas Aquinas did not get opportunity to progress in the competition, to move to the next stage, and that is why they are starting from the regionals this time around. So a lot of people are hoping to see them take part in the contest today. We are also waiting to see St. Mary's Senior High School. St. Mary's Senior High School, they will also be competing today. They will be starting from the regional stage. They will be starting from this level. We're hoping to see if we're waiting to see if they can qualify to the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz. We're also waiting to see Chemu Senior High School. They would also be competing. Chemu Senior High School, big name when it comes to the National Science and Maths Quiz, but they would have to start from the regional level, and their journey actually begins today. We're waiting to see whether they will also qualify. Accra Girls Senior High School will also be starting their competition right from this room. If they do not win, then it means that the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz will not be happening for them. Many of the people I've interacted with here, many of the contestants and the students I've interacted with here want to get to the big stage. They see the regional stage as a big stage, but they are all aspiring to get to the national stage where all the attention will be, where all their focus will be, where all the competition will be, and of course, where all the money is going to be. So we're waiting to see how today's contest will pan out. But right about now, let me hand over to Manuel Cranton, who is in the Upper West region, where he's going to give us some updates from WA. Over to you, Manuel.
Yes, great. So, Maxwell, thank you so much. I'm just, getting a picture that is really exciting in Accra. But here in the Upper West region also, it's extremely exciting. And I was hearing you talk about the highlight of yesterday's contest. Well, here in Upper West region, St. Francis Girls High School from Jirapa stole the show yesterday. They were the highest scoring school with 52 points at the end of 4 contests. That's impressive. And the main export in the National Science and Maths Quiz from the region, that's St. Francis Xavier, couldn't even match up to their performance. They made 50 points. while St. Francis girls made 52 points. Well, there's a whole lot of things to expect from today's contest. But let me start off from one gentleman. This Prince. Prince is one of the contestants from Kalio Senior High Technical. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
What's the feeling like? I mean, you seem really, meek and very relaxed. Are you scared?
No, please.
You're not scared?
Yes.
Okay, what's your expectation for today, this morning's, contest?
Okay. At the end of the contest, we came to do our best, but we pray that God should help us do the rest. So we pray that God should just let us come with the best.
A lot of schools fell yesterday. Schools like Hila Liman got 3 points. Ulo Senior High School got 2 points at the end of 4 rounds. I mean, your school is being tipped as one of the schools that is going to score 2 or 3 points. Is that true?
No, please. We are going to do it better. We'll score more than 2 points.
What are you going to get?
We are going to get the best, but I can't actually predict the distance. The actual mark we'll get. But we are going to come out with the best.
You're going to come out with the best. Wait, great. So let me just bring in some of the students. Thank you very much. Let me just bring in the students from the WA Senior High School. Well, they are just arriving. They're just giving you a sense of, the sort of expectancy that some of these students have. And yesterday, this guy spoke really bigly. He said they were in here to win. What's your name again?
My name is Shadrach.
Great. How's the journey here?
Oh, it's cool.
It's cool. Today I see you are wearing your ceremonial uniform. Everybody's looking bright and shine. What's the expectation for today? Are you going to slay some schools or you are going to be slain?
Oh, you are coming to murder some schools.
You're coming to murder schools? How many schools are you murdering?
Oh, 2.
You're murdering 2 schools. Yep. Eventually there's going to be another qualifier. Okay, after your first contest, there's going to be another qualifier. There's going to be St. Francis Xavier. St. Francis girls got 52 points. That's impressive. You're not scared?
Oh, yeah. We are not scared. We came with full vim, and we are rest assured that, per our preparation, we are come to emerge as winners for today. Yeah.
So that's what we're expecting.
Oh, yeah,
so if I say WA SHS, what do you say?
Knowledge and service.
WA SHS?
Knowledge and service.
WA SHS?
Knowledge and service.
Let's see if their knowledge will be enough for them, to give up their service in this morning's contest. My name is Manuel Krante, reporting from the Upper West region here in WA. Right about now, though, we'll take a break on the AM show. We're back with so much more. Do stay.
It's been quite a show, hasn't it? From teenage pregnancy to that application saving lives on our roads to the National Science and Math Quiz and now sanitation. Well, that's how we've done it this morning on the show. Join us for the midweek edition, same time tomorrow. My name is Benjamin Akakbo. On behalf of the crew, we say top of the morning to you. Do have a lovely day.